welcome back to What the Tech, Dave.
Rolando, how are you, man?
I'm
Merry
doing
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. I've got my Christmas stuff going on. I've got we've getting in the holiday mode now, where it's almost the end of the year.
So close,
You know,
so close.
it's been a long year. It's been a hard year for a lot of us, and we want to send everybody who's listening to us. We want to wish you well during these times. It's been a tough year. It's been a rough year. Whether you're celebrating Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or even not celebrating. For that, you've gave up on the holidays.
True.
It's not, you're not in the holiday mode. We understand. We totally get you. I get
That's
you.
right.
Dave gets you. And I also want to point out we have a third person out in the cloud. His name is Ori Gallardo, and he's doing a wonderful job with the graphics and the production. So behind the scenes, Ori, thumbs up to you.
Yeah, thanks,
and
dude.
then everybody else who's been helping us through the year on this. So we want to welcome you in. If you're watching us on Amazon, you have the opportunity to see the products that we're going to touch on today. Buy them. They're available for shipping immediately. And if you're watching us on the other platforms, you may also have the opportunity to do that as well if supported. So also tell us where you're tuning in from today. Are you tuning in from our nation's capital where I'm at right now? Or Dave, you're in the New England area. We'd
Beautiful
love to see
New
your
England.
chats. Yes, exactly. You're getting probably tons of snow this time of year, right?
Yep, we're prepared for it. This is nothing.
Snow blower or shovel?
Snowblower
Oh my
and
God.
shovel.
Oh my God. Ugh, I get cold just even thinking about the snowblower. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So let's jump into what we've got prepared for the audience today. We have amassed the most asked questions that we've been getting over in the 2020 through Amazon, and some of these you may or may not have seen or not know about, but we certainly want to bring some highlight those because they tend to be things that folks that are starting to look for a headset and they're in their journey in trying to purchase, some that have already purchased a headset and may just have a burning desire to know why this or why that, right, Dave?
That's right.
I think no matter where you are, whether you're an advanced user or a beginner, there are times where you're like, what the heck? What the tech?
What
What
the
the
tech?
tech? What the tech? Why? Right? So let's jump into it for our folks today. So we're going to go ahead and tackle probably one of the most asked questions of the year. Go ahead and throw it up, Ori. So what's the difference between UC optimized and Microsoft optimized versions? Dave, this is one that we field all the time from customers. And
Yep.
it comes up no matter whether you've been using headsets for a long time or you're just starting. And I think there is some confusion because this term is fairly new. And with so many more people now at home working and more than likely using their computer or their mobile phone for communications, that's when this comes into play more so than if you have the old school desktop phone.
Absolutely.
Where folks are probably just using their their computers more for the collaboration part of it and not as much for the communications. And now that folks are using both the cloud as well as all the apps that are on it for both collaboration and communications, a lot more people are asking about this question.
The question comes up every single day, Rolando. I'm going to ask you. So this is what I like to tell them. First, Rolando, is there any difference in the hardware if it's a Microsoft optimized product versus a UC optimized product? Is there any difference in the hardware?
No, I don't think there's any difference in the hardware. They're identical. They're usually, and whether we're talking about a speakerphone or we're talking about a headset, the actual physical nuts and bolts are the same. The difference really comes down to what's in there from a firmware perspective. And what you have, and I'm going to grab over here by way of illustration, a speakerphone that I happen to have on my desk. I've got a number of them, but this one was the closest one. One that is optimized for Microsoft. And I'm going to just show it off to our audience here. I'm going to bring it into focus. This is the Yealink. Let me try to do my best Vanna White impression. And what we've got, let me see if I can get it to zoom. Okay. Now at the bottom, you see that there is there we go. We have a Microsoft Teams button. This is the only difference really between the UC and Microsoft versions right now. And that is that with the advent of Teams, many of the hardware manufacturers are simply adding this button that does several things if you're a user of Teams. So if you use Teams, you use Microsoft Skype, you use Microsoft Link, you'll find that when you plug this in, or if it was a Jabra or a Sennheiser, all the drivers are immediately loaded into the computer, and you should be able to hear and use the audio without having to do any configuration. That's the benefit of using the Microsoft version if you intend on using some of these applications. Right, Dave?
Yep, that's right. So right out of the box, the user can plug it in. You'll receive the audio path, and all of the buttons will come to life. So if you're using Microsoft Teams or Skype or another Microsoft application, you can expect that when you plug this in, it's the software or the firmware within the product is talking to the software that's on your PC or your laptop, and immediately they're talking the same language. There's no configuration to worry about. You plug it in, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now, that's not to say that this Microsoft optimized product won't work cross-platform, because it will. So don't worry about that. A lot of organizations are using different platforms, so that's not a problem. But when you're using Microsoft Teams, again, or another Microsoft application, you can plug this in. Everything's going to come to life just as it should. Very plug and play, very user-friendly.
That's right. And I think that a lot of folks, whether they're using Teams or they've used some other applications, they've found that the device that they're using sometimes presents challenges. And one of the things that we did in our previous segments, Dave, if you remember, we're talking about Microsoft Teams, a lot of folks had a lot of questions, especially on Windows 10. And again, so if you're using Windows 10, you're using any kind of Windows Microsoft platform, 10 or any of the other OS types, the Microsoft optimized headset or speakerphone will just plug and play right out of the box, should plug itself, should add the drivers. It'll just do everything seamlessly. Now, on Microsoft, you have a lot of folks who may be using something other than Teams or Skype for Business or Link. You may be using Zoom. You may be using some other application. Anything other than that, you could still use the Microsoft version for that. You just won't have the benefit of what did I do with the Teams button that's on the hardware for the Microsoft version of that hardware. So most of these manufacturers will make this one. This is the Microsoft version, and they'll make an identical one that does not have that button. And so without that button, and it's only a button that works for Microsoft Teams. Therefore, that's why a lot of folks call it the Microsoft version. Those buttons enable functions that allow you to open up a call or start a call or end a call. It's essentially the call control functions that particular button that is enabled on the Microsoft team allows you to do. I know that, Dave, I know that Microsoft is adding some additional functionality around that. And with Teams becoming more and more readily deployed, they're also adding new features. So check the Microsoft Teams website for functionality on that. They are consistently improving that platform, and the hardware manufacturers are also adding new features so that you can use that Teams button to do a number of things besides the call control functions. And Dave, the other thing when we're talking about, you see, why don't or you throw up that image of the other platforms that people would be using. So if you're using another platform, and it's some of these that we're featuring right now, Chime, RingCentral, WebEx, Google Hangouts, or Meet, Vonage, any of these, the Microsoft version will work with that. And so will the UC version, or the Unified Communications version. In the case of the UC version, what you have is most of these manufacturers will have a companion software that allows you to basically set the settings and configuration of that headset in a way so that it can take advantage of integrated call control features if these softwares have them available. So, for example, you use Ring Central, and Plantronics has a app that you could use with Ring Central, and it has integrated call controls. And so I can think of like the 5200 Voyager Legend. A lot of folks like that. You could use it with Ring Central, and the built-in call control allows you to answer and disconnect from the call. It's awesome. You don't have to touch the computer. You don't have to do anything like that.
Right.
It's just plug and play right out of the box. You just use the Ring Central software, and you have the ability right on the 5200. If you allow me to reach in here, from the 5200, you can easily use the multi-function button that's on the 5200, and you can take the call either by putting it on your ear or pressing the multi-function button that is on the headset. Pretty neat.
Right. Very neat. Very neat.
Makes it easy so that, Dave, you don't have to, go press the button on the keyboard to answer or grab your mouse and, hit the on or toggle it on and off. You just either put it on, you press the multifunction button, and on the way you go. So look for the companion software. That would be my advice, right, Dave? Just send people to go get the companion software that's free.
Yep,
And load it
the
on
software
your
is
PC.
free. The software is free. You'll have the ability to use a drop-down menu to select what you're using for that soft phone or that UC application. The buttons come to life. And really what this is doing is, I think the hardware manufacturers are now giving the users an opportunity to have a physical interface. When we were all in the office, we were all used to physical buttons. We're sitting in front of a telephone. And now with the soft phone interface, people are still missing that. They want something to touch. So when you have the companion software, you select what type of soft phone or UC application you're using. Now you have physical buttons on your speakerphone or on your headset, and that's creating, that experience that we're all kind of used to. You want to touch something to answer a telephone call. And it's not necessarily mouse hunting and opening up the window. You want to hit a button on your headset. You want to hit the button on your speakerphone. And that's exactly what this is doing. It's enhancing that user experience.
That's exactly right. And so we're all about, our motto is we want to make you sound better so you can sell more. And so if you can sound better and also work easier and more efficient in the process, you're just going to feel more comfortable. Your user experience is going to be optimal. And when you have an optimal user experience, when you have the right headset, the right gear, the right software, it shows. And I think in some of our upcoming shows, what we're going to do is actually show you some folks that don't have optimal hardware, and they're on TV. That's a new one, Dave. I'm dropping on you. We're gonna roll out folks that are on TV using headsets. And as you know, most people have been home for 9 months. And so they're grabbing, some of them are using the 5200 that I showed you. Some are using nothing at all. And some of them are using the right headsets. They're not always the most expensive, but they're the right headsets for what they're doing. And it makes such a huge difference. So stay tuned for that. That's going to come in the new year.
All right, that'll be fun.
I know. Dave, anything else you want to touch on while we're on talking about UC versus the Microsoft versions?
It's just, the manufacturers that we sell, they have relationships with Microsoft, and that's why, and the other vendors that we were showing up there. It's not something that just happens magically. It happens when the engineers from EPOS, Poly, Jabra, etc. It's when they have relationships with the UC providers. They're able to share their codes, their magic potion, magic ingredients, and that's why that's able to happen. So that's all I'll add there. And why don't we move on to the next question?
All right. I like it. So go ahead, Ori, throw up our next question. So, do I need a Bluetooth dongle when using a Bluetooth headset with my PC or Mac?
Every day.
A really good one. So one of the big reasons I think, Dave, that people ask this question is because people tend to assume that Bluetooth is built into my PC. Bluetooth, in some cases, may be built into. You see the phone behind me that I use. It is built into that phone behind me, or in some of the Polycom. And when you have a mobile device, and then when you have, let's say, a PC, you have some differences there in implementation, in hardware, where the antennas are located, resource dedicated, drivers or lack thereof, digital signatures, all of these variables, every single one of them play a factor in the performance of what you would use, what Bluetooth headset, and how it's going to act, react, what your voice is going to sound like. And almost all of those factors outside of the bandwidth and your connection, your Wi-Fi signal, if you're using Ethernet, your actual bandwidth, all of those things actually play a role, right, Dave?
Yeah.
If you have your Bluetooth dongle, or let's say it's not using a Bluetooth dongle. Let's just take it from the fact that somebody has, a MacBook, and because it has Bluetooth, you're thinking you're going to get really good quality audio using whatever Bluetooth headset, and that's not always the case.
No,
Right.
that's exactly right. So what the manufacturers suggest, and it makes sense, is when you include the USB dongle with the headset, that's how you get the best possible quality for your send audio and your receive audio. You were kind of touched upon it. It's a game of the weakest link, the bandwidth, the processing power of your computer, the way that the Bluetooth signal is being generated back and forth to the headset. So the USB dongle is going to really make that the best experience. I did some testing with a Bluetooth headset and the Bluetooth on my MacBook. So I was thinking that maybe because it's a MacBook that it would handle the Bluetooth signaling better for voice than, say, just for a regular standard laptop or a Windows machine. And the experience was poor. It was jittery audio. Now, I will say my receive audio, if I was just using it to listen to music, acceptable. But when I was using it to communicate, the audio was not traveling the way that it needed to go at all. I mean, it was. We couldn't fake it. We had to kind of restart the conversation, use the dongle. But it's imperative that you use one of these dongles when you're using it on a laptop or PC.
And that's the thing, and it's not that the manufacturers are trying to gyp anybody, Dave. I think that a lot of them have realized that if you don't need to, because they do sell some devices without the Bluetooth dongle. If we're talking now just a Bluetooth now, Bluetooth headsets are available without the Bluetooth dongle. And you can use it that way. And in that function, you're primarily going to probably use it just with your mobile phone, right?
Right.
But if your intention really is to use it with your PC, or in this case, if you may have a Bluetooth phone, you may want to use that dongle because you're going to get the best audio quality possible. And if that's what you're after, usually the dongle serves you well in controlling that audio going back and forth in full duplex mode. Whereas a lot of times manufacturers, when you're talking PCs and tablets and other devices outside of the mobile environment, those devices do really well when they're transmitting, when you're receiving audio like streaming music. You don't have to have full duplex.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So you can get your Pandora or your Spotify or whatever very nice and easy into your Bluetooth headphones, and it works. But once you start wanting real-time full duplex audios, we've seen over and over and over and over again customers saying, hey, my headset doesn't work. And it doesn't turn out that it turns out that it's not that it doesn't work. It's just that the customer's just unaware that the dongle can make such a big difference. So Bluetooth dongle, huge important, huge. Please use it. So in 2020, as well as going to 2021, depending on when you're watching this video, our biggest piece of advice, if you are going to use a PC, use a Bluetooth dongle, or get the version. In a lot of cases, the manufacturer has what's called a UC version, that's Unified Communications version, and 99% of the time, the Unified Communications version will include inside the box a Bluetooth dongle so you could stick it into your computer. Now, Ulrich, do me a favor and put up the image that we have with the USB-A and USB-C, because I think this is a smaller point that just adds a little more emphasis on what we're talking about. Thank you. So USB-A and USB-C, this is something that's become more of a topic as newer and newer laptops have come on the market, and folks have wanted to know, what is this C and A? What in more manufacturers are making, especially in the headsets and speakerphones world, they're making this distinction because they're making this available for users of both sides. Now, the USB-A is by far still the most popular connectivity and port that is on most laptops, most computers, most MacBooks. But in recent times, like my own mobile phone, it has a USB-C. Some of the newer MacBooks are USB-C. So this is something you want to pay attention. Now, is it the end of the world if you get one or the other? Again, this gets back to a question more of convenience, Dave. The A and the C version from a hardware perspective, except that the shape is different, they perform equal. There is no that the C isn't better than the A or vice versa. It's just the form factor shape. So
Yeah.
everything inside is exactly the same except for the shape of the port, right?
That's right. Well, now, as far as I know, that's right. I don't know the reasoning why they're migrating to the USB-C, but I do know that the adapters are very inexpensive. So they have USB-C to A adapters and USB-A to C adapters. Very inexpensive, easily available. It's probably a good time to grab a couple of those. And you know what? They're relatively small, so get a couple. Keep them around your different areas of your home when you're working, so that you have them at your fingertips.
Well, I can't agree even more than that. That's exactly what we want folks to do. The best way to get the best audio, use that dongle. So I think we've said a lot on the Bluetooth dongle. So go out and get the dongle if you don't have it, or just go ahead and get the UC version of that product, and you'll be much happier. Now,
Hey, Rolando, since you threw one on me for the 2021, some of the testing that we're going to do,
yeah,
I want to throw something out to you.
all right,
Side by
Lay it on
side
me.
comparison.
Okay.
And I know we have viewers that are probably asking this question. Can you use poly USB dongles with Jabra products? Can you use an EPOS dongle with a Jabra product? We'll have to do some demos on that. We haven't really done much testing on that.
We have not.
We may want to do some of that.
You know, in theory, the answer would be yes, but you'd have to. You more than likely will need to use the companion software for that manufacturer to pair pair the Bluetooth to the headset that you want. I know that on the Jabra, it looks for all the Bluetooth and it will look for what's available.
Good point.
But we haven't tested that with, let's say, a Jabra dongle with a Plantronics, or vice versa, a Plantronics with a Jabra, or a Sennheiser or EPOS with a Jabra. So in theory, again, it should be possible, but we haven't really vetted out, and I think that'd probably be a good one for 2021 to do some product demonstrations on and see. In theory, it should work, but then when you connect it, are there performance issues, right?
Yeah, well, we'll
Do you
find
get
out.
audio problems or pairing issues? Does it disconnect? So a couple of different things to look for, and I like that. I like that. I've noted that. You got that, Ori? You got that one down for 2021? Good. All right. So dongles. So let's go to the next question, which is tied right next to this question that we're talking about, the dongles. So why can't I get more than 10 feet of range on my Bluetooth headset? So this is connected to the last question that we just talked about. Bluetooth comes in a number of different versions. Now, the latest version of Bluetooth, version 5, Bluetooth 5.0, is supposed to allow for greater distances. And you know, Dave, when we're talking about range and distance, this is next to the UC versus MS version. This is, to me, one of the most frustrating things, because manufacturers will claim, Hey, you can get 100 feet, 300 feet, 5,000 feet, whatever. It all depends on where you're using the device.
Yeah.
And then it depends on what Bluetooth you have on your mobile phone, right? So if you have the older Bluetooth version, you're not using 5.0, or your device is not a class 1 device, you're going to get the 30 feet of range, max 30 feet, 10 meters or slash 30 feet. And that's the maximum. So if you then have an environment, like let's say I have my little potted jungle right here, and I stuck my laptop with the dongle in here, in that potted jungle, I'm probably not going to get a very strong signal to the
Probably
headset.
not. Probably
right?
not.
And so the same is if it's not the potted jungle, maybe your laptop or your PC is under your desk or below your table or wherever you. And if that dongle, I have one around here, laying around here somewhere. I just knocked it off my table. I've got another one. Not like I don't have enough toys to play with. If your dongle, and this is the Jabra version of it, right? If that dongle is connected to your laptop, right? Like over here, you can see if I connect it into my laptop, I just pretend for a second. Now, if that dongle is, thank you, Ori, thank you, you're reading my mind. If that dongle is there and you've got a cup, you've got a monitor, you've got some other object that's kind of obstructing a table, anything else that's obstructing a clear line of sight from that dongle to the headset or the speakerphone in this case, you're going to get a reduced range. Range will dramatically decrease. Your audio quality will decrease. And what I've seen, Dave, is even the connectivity. It can also, go down because of that. You don't have a strong connection between the dongle and the headset. So now it may disconnect a little bit more frequently than it should, or it'll just disconnect more frequently because it's trying to pair itself, it's trying to maintain that connection, but it drops down below a certain level and then it loses the connection.
I've had people ask me this frequently after they've purchased the product. They're looking for a way to just get a little bit more range. Sometimes it's as simple as you just changing it from the left side to the right side, or just using a different USB port on their computer. Sometimes they don't even have to change sides because it could potentially be a hardware issue, not for the dongle, but a hardware issue on the computer. Maybe that port has just been used so much that some of the pin connections are a little worn thin. Mm-hmm. So for folks that are trying to increase their range, don't be afraid to try some of the other USB ports that maybe you haven't used. I even know a lot of people that have monitors that also have additional USB jacks.
That's all right. It's the end of the year, man. Don't worry about it. And cold.
So it's not a bad idea to just try some of the other ports and check out the experience on that.
And I also have another suggestion, Dave. This is one I've mentioned in other streams, but I'm going to mention again if you haven't seen us before. A very inexpensive device, $10 maximum, a USB extender. You can see this one's only about a foot long, but it does the job in order to get around the problem of, like, if you're putting it on a PC or a laptop and you're not getting very good signal, well, sticking this up and maybe putting a piece of tape on here, I'll just kind of show it here on the PC that I got in the back of my laptop. I'm going to just stick it up here instead of down here. And now I've got a bona fide antenna that is out of the way. The dongle's sitting here on top. And now I've got a much better range because now I don't have it down here where it competes with all the things that are down by your ankles or your waist or any other obstructions that might be there. You're just going to get a much better line of sight to the dongle. The dongle's going to see the headset. The headset's going to stay in communication, and you're going to have less issues because of this simple device. Now, you're probably wondering, why don't the manufacturer... Dave, let me ask you this question. I'm going to throw it right back at you. Why don't they throw this cheap, and it probably doesn't cost a lot to make anyways, just throw it in the box.
That's a good question. I'm not going to put words in their mouth. Maybe we'll have a special guest on in 2021. We'll have some product managers from the different manufacturers.
It's a one to ask, right?
We'll have to ask them that.
So Polly, if you're listening, Jabra, if you're listening, EPOS, if you're listening, help your customers help themselves. Throw in the box a very simple, fairly inexpensive tool that will let them have better range. And you know what, Dave? We probably just come out with our own. We've been hearing that enough from customers.
Yeah.
2021, stay tuned. We'll come out with it.
We'll
Executive
bring it to
decision
you.
made. We're going to bring it to you. So if you're listening to us and you've been frustrated about this issue, we're not going to wait for the manufacturers on this one. We're going to move forward. We're going to bring you something really special in 2021. And stay tuned. And when we have that available, we'll announce it here on our stream.
I like it.
I know, I like it. We'll just take action. We're gonna wait. So on the range, did we cover plenty on the range, Dave, or did you have something else you wanted to add?
No, you know what? I think it's about the environment. It's about physically where that dongle is. If you're a little weird, if you're paying a little more attention to those two things, you should be able to get a couple of extra feet of range. Now, if range is your number one issue, maybe a Bluetooth product isn't for you, and we're going to focus on some of these other demos moving forward in 2021 because there are other types of products that are wireless that aren't Bluetooth that will give you far superior range, and I'm looking forward to doing some of those demos coming up.
Me too. We've got some tests that we did with walking a dog. We've got some other tests testing out headsets, see if they worked well indoors with other noises. You know, we had on the EBP. Man, did I say that right?
I think so.
Ori, did I say that right? EBP. I think Ori's taking a snack or something. I think the EBP man, we had him,
Yes.
and he offered a lot of insights, and so we're gonna tackle that issue. He gave us some really good ideas. And if you haven't seen the EBP man, I'm having a hard time. My brain's frozen or something. You know, it's cold out, so he offered a lot of good insight, a lot of good suggestions. If you liked him and you want him on again, let us know. Hit us up on chat. Let us know that you enjoyed having him. I'm sure he told us he liked coming on as well. So we'd love to have him again. Let us know if you enjoyed that stream, if you watched it previous to this one. All right. So let's jump to the next question. So let's throw that one up, Ori. Can I use a USB headset / speakerphone with my desk phone? That's a good one. It's a good question, and I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes an even more popular question as things start to open up and people start returning back to the office. Right. It's not an easy question to answer, though, Rolando, is it? No, because there's several factors involved, and as you can hear, it sounds like somebody's calling me on my desk phone right now. Well, it stopped ringing. So it's semi-live, right? Are we semi-live today? Semi-live. So for the Christmas special. So it's not at first we have to break this down a little bit. So first we know we're using a desk phone, right? So I'm just going to point to the one I have. I have a desk phone right back here. And the intent of what you're trying to do, first let's tackle the headset. So on this particular phone, the phone that's behind me is a Yealink phone, and it has a USB port. So do I want to use something all day long? And am I intending on talking all day long to people? Am I not? So first, let's separate headset and speakerphone. So from a headset perspective, am I getting a little bit of on my, well, maybe it was on my end. I was hearing a little weird sound. The USB, so headset. So with the headset, it does have a headset port, so I can plug in a USB headset. And that particular phone also has a button for the USB headset so that it sends out audio. So that's the first thing. Is that headset designed to use that port for audio? or is it meant for data like a video connection? And that's going to be in your user's manual. That's the first thing you need to know. If it does support audio over that USB port, then we go to that next step. Okay, are you intending on using a speakerphone or a headset? Most of these phones will support a USB-A headset type of connection. But if you're adventurous and you want to maybe not use the speakerphone on the particular phone you're using because you don't like it, it's not adequate, the volume is too low, you will find that some of these phones do support speakerphones connected via the USB port. And so when you're in speakerphone mode, you get a much richer audio when you're using speakerphone, let's say like the Yealink or like the EPOS. You tend to get a much better audio than just the native speaker. So it really depends what kind of activity you're doing. Are you using your desk phone? If you happen to be working in the office, and I presume, Dave, at some point we're going to be coming back to the office at some point.
Hope so.
Maybe
I hope so.
fewer of us, but more of us are going to be coming back to the office and be using those desk phones again. Or maybe those folks will continue using the PC. I don't know. If they've taken those dusty old phones and traded them in for PCs and soft phones, or if everybody's gonna stay home. Well, I guess a couple months from now we have to go back, look at ourselves in the past, right, and hopefully we can see what was the outcome. Desk phones won the day and came back, or if PCs took over and now everybody's on a PC no matter where they're at. But if you're on a desk phone, the question was on the desk phone, you can use both. You'll have to first check the user manual on the particular hardware that you're using, this particular phone, and see if the audio is supported over the USB. And that's really what it comes down to. And with the newer desk phones, the headset port, and I should say this, let me back up. The manufacturers are moving towards USB as the default headset port, instead of the traditional, it looks like an RJ9 jack that you stick in the wall. That's the most common form of a headset port right now in most phones. But in many of the newer phones, it is USB. And if you've got some of the latest phones, you'll get both USB and Bluetooth on that phone. So we'll have to see what happens here in this next year. But yeah, the answer is yes, you can. Both are supported. Check the manufacturer's user guide to make sure that you have USB audio on that port. Dave, you want to add anything to that?
I was going to say, every phone's a little bit different. Feel free to give us a call, chat with us live online, shoot us a text, whatever it might be. If you've purchased from us or you're looking to try something new, give us a call. We'll walk you through it.
Yeah, and we've got some featured. I just want to remind folks that are watching us on Amazon, we're featuring some products here today. You could easily make a purchase on those. And if you like what you're seeing today, we invite you to subscribe, follow, click, do all the doohickeys, like, and hit the notification, and all of, no matter what platform you're on, we're going to get you hooked up with updates. We'll get you hooked up with deals and things that are coming and on the way. So do all that good stuff no matter what platform you're on. Hit all the buttons, right? And we'll bring you the latest. And if you want to check us out on Amazon, we do have an Amazon store. And on that store, we've got a whole array of products, headsets from all the top manufacturers, Jabra, Sennheiser, which is EPOS, Plantronics, which is also now called Poly. We have a whole array of products just for you, whether you're working from home, you're at school, and you're deploying. I know we've worked with a couple of schools, Dave, where we've sent them and advised them on the best and most appropriate devices. Because right now, one of the other things, it's not on our top 5 questions, but it should have been, is can I get this product? Because quite frankly, some of these more popular products have been sold out multiple times throughout the year, and we have to wait weeks, if not months, from the manufacturer to bring more back in stock. right, Dave? We've gone through that with customers where, they want webcams and sometimes there's no webcams.
It changes. It changes every single minute. One of the important things that we bring to the market is we have live inventory feeds from all of our warehouses. So if you have a question about inventory, you're going to get the right answer from us. So call us, text us, chat with us live online, ask what we have in for inventory. We can see live what is available.
And not only that, if you happen to be an enterprise customer and you have users that are from home, we can ship to all those users. We can ship to their homes or wherever they happen to be. So if whether you have 5 folks or 500 folks, we can accommodate that. So we invite you to connect with us over any of those platforms, reach out to us by phone or via the app. So we welcome your comments and questions. So let's go on to I believe this is going to be our last question for today.
I think this is the last question.
I'm looking at, it says, go ahead, Ori, roll that last question. So I'm looking for a headset that's compatible with X, i.e. deskphone, Avaya. Oh, okay, got it. So I got it. So I have a headset and I want to know if it's compatible with my Avaya phone. I want to know if the headset's compatible with my MacBook, or I've got a headset or a speakerphone for that matter, and I want to know if I could use it with my mobile device with Zoom. Got it. So this gets a little bit back to what you were saying about, we were talking a little bit about earlier. So compatibility, let's tackle the easiest one. Let's go with a mobile device. And Ori, if you could throw up that slide that had all the different platforms. Beautiful. So if we're talking now on a mobile device, the mobile device will generally have an app for most of these things that you're seeing with Chime, RingCentral, GoToMeeting, Zoom, Blue Jeans, 8x8, all of these, let's call them platforms that are voice over IP or voice platforms or video platforms, because some of these do both. When you're using a voice or video platform, you can connect a Bluetooth device to your Bluetooth enabled smartphone. So if you have an Android, you have an iOS device, and you have an iPad, you have a tablet, most of the time you're going to run the app on that device. And you can use a number of different speakerphones. You can use a number of different headsets. The separator, what will separate it in terms of compatibility, and a lot of times folks want to know if it will work. The answer is going to be yes, it'll work. But then the next bit of question is, will it do these other functions that we were talking about earlier about integrated call controls and the ability to answer and disconnect from the mobile device, right, Dave? Isn't that generally what customers are really trying to get at when they're asking about compatibility questions on the mobile platforms?
Yeah, on the mobile platforms, I think it's a misconception that there's a specific headset for a specific platform. And really, at the end of the day, the manufacturers, they're trying to make products that are going to work cross-platform. What they're really addressing are the user requirements. Where does the user work? What platform do they use is secondary, but primarily it's what are they trying to accomplish? Are they looking to connect to a soft phone only? Do they want to incorporate a desk phone? Are they looking to incorporate multiple smart devices with their PC and their desk phone, with a 2-ear headset, a single-ear headset, multiple ways to wear it? The manufacturers, they're looking to find the user needs so that they can find the product that's going to fit for how that user wants to work. It will be compatible with the platform, but trying to find the product that's compatible for how the user wants to work is really most important.
I agree. And when it comes to mobile devices, the integrated call functions, so the answer and the answer, the disconnect, the mute, if being able to have that ability on the headset is important to you. Certain headset manufacturers will have apps that are integrated into, for example, RingCentral. And I come back to that one because that one's I'm familiar with that one. On the Plantronics, you can use your mobile device and a Plantronics 5200. There's several other Plantronics / Poly that can be used with that and allow you to use that in an integrated fashion. Several of the other manufacturers have certain compatibility guides where those call controls can be are integrated, and but you may want to like take a look at this. So if you're listening to this, whether it's in 2020, 2021, or sometime later, all of those things tend to change. And every few months, there's more and more compatibility. Rephrase that. There are more features and more platforms that get integrated into these hardware. So certain manufacturers, Dave, I know just 2-3 years ago, it was only a handful of platforms that had the integrated call control features.
Right.
Now there's many, many more that are not just compatible, but are also integrated into those call control functions.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I would imagine that even today, as many more users are using these platforms, the Teams and Zoom and whatnot, there's probably a race for many more platforms to come online in terms of an integrated call control.
Yep. I would
And
agree.
because that's what the customers are demanding, and it takes some time. But if you're using something like Jabra, that I believe just a few weeks ago they announced that their older generation of Evolve devices, so Evolve 65, Evolve 75, 40, those headsets are all getting free firmware upgrades to make them Microsoft Teams compatible. So this is an example of exactly what we're talking about. Those devices may not have started off as being designed and built for Teams, which is slightly different than Microsoft Skype. But today, with firmware, you can upgrade that on Jabra. I believe it's at no cost, so it's free. And you just upgrade using the Jabra Direct PC app. You upgrade the firmware, and now you're able to use the Microsoft Teams alongside with that. And I would take advantage of it. I mean, if you're a Teams user, I know, Dave, a lot of people really love Teams as a platform because they could do a lot. So if you really like Teams and you're using one of these devices that they put out on the market, because the Evolve is been out for several years now. So you like Teams, look for that upgrade on the Jabra website and you'll find it.
Totally the benefit of buying, a higher end commercial product. It's not just that it's great product it's not just that it's great product when you receive it, but what you're not seeing is that relationship that the manufacturers have with the UC providers, so that they're able to build it in and then give their customers that opportunity to upgrade for free. And I'll tell you, it's really what sets these larger manufacturers apart from just some random headset manufacturer that's out there. It's definitely the relationships that the brands have with the other brands.
Yeah, because it takes a lot of people to do the testing, certification, maintenance, upgrades, figuring out, can this work under this condition, under that condition? Can it be plug and play? And that's something that you're generally going to find more readily at the larger brands, Sennheiser, which is EPOS, Plantronics / Poly, and Jabra. Those are the companies that Logitech to some extent as well, will have these integrated call controls, so that if you're using Zoom, you're using Teams, you're using some other platform, you get the ability to have a very seamless, very easy, very convenient user experience. Where those cheaper brands, I don't want to call them generics because they're brands, but just don't have the visibility and size. They don't have those resources, and you may not get some of those functionalities built into the device, or use a companion software that gives you that ability to do that.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, Dave, I think we did the top 5 questions. We let folks know. Did I miss anything here on this last one?
No, we hit the top 5 most popular questions. You know what? I think I think that we've maybe visited some of those questions in the past. I'm sure that they'll keep coming. I'm hoping that people will get some value out of this particular video that we're doing here.
Right. And we also want to wish everybody that is watching this during the holidays, wish you a Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. And again, if you're not celebrating because it's one of those years where you want to kick 2020, not maybe punch it in the mouth or a little 1-2,
Right hook.
kick it, right? Move on to the 2021. We hear you, we feel you. And we want to wish everybody to be safe in 2020, to have a great season. It's been wonderful bringing you these streams. We're going to bring you much more in 2021. We'll bring you some new things that you haven't seen yet. We've alluded to a little bit. We've been dropping some nuggets on folks so that they can stay tuned for our upcoming streams. We're going to bring you some personalities and some other things that will be very interesting and you'll want to stay tuned for. Dave, do you have any parting words for our audience in 2020?
Don't look back, look forward for better things to come.
I can't add anything to that. So thank you for supporting us in 2020 and we look forward to seeing you in 2021.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.